Before we run an experiment, we need to configure its parameters. To do so, click the Configuration button to enter the configuration interface. The first thing we'll do is set up the factors of our game. Each factor represents a choice we need to make to design the conditions of our experiment. For example, the number of players in the experiment is one dimension of all possible experiments we could run. Let's give ourselves the option of running either a one-player game or a game with 2 players. Now we'll create a new factor or dimension in the parameter space, the number of rounds that the player will play. We'll set this to an integer number of rounds and say that it's required for our experiment. When we name the factor, we need to use camel case, as we'll reference this variable in our code. We'll give it a description and say that players must play at least 1 round, and maybe we want to have the option of giving them up to 10 rounds. Now we add values to this dimension to allow players to play either a short game with 2 rounds or a long game with 8 rounds. We can combine various factor values to create a specific treatment for our experiment. This treatment is an operational point in the experiment design space. For our first treatment, we'll set up a short game with just 2 players. The last thing we need to do is set up a lobby where players can wait until everyone is ready for the game to begin. So we'll create a new lobby configuration. This will be our default lobby. We'll use the standard parameters. These values set a timeout such that if 300 seconds pass before all players are ready, then the game is cancelled. We could alternately ignore the number of players required and start the game with whoever's ready.